good afternoon, maybe I should say. Okay. Today we're learning, Yeret Hashem, the nitty-gritties, so to speak, of Tkiyah Shofar. And in truth is, I prepared the classical text of the Mishnah Berurah, and my Chavrus asked me today, said, are you going to say what you're planning to say? You know, I said, no, probably. And on my way here, I changed my mind. And I want to speak about something which is a little bit more relevant to people to be aware of than the technical aspect. In other words, there's blowing the shofar is a science, and you have to know exactly how much to blow, how long to blow, what deviation, variance of the call. All those things are important, but they're not really so relevant to the guy listening. You know, you just listen anyways. What happened was that this week somebody asked me, he's actually in America, he's running an outdoor minyan. And this outdoor minyan is Nusach Svard. And Nusach Svard, I don't know if any of you people ever daven Nusach Svard. Yehuda, do you ever daven Nusach Svard? So they blow the shofar in the quiet Shemona Esrei.
We did that at Halacha Shiur during the first Rosh Hashanah.
Well, that was Svard. At that time, it was Svard. Okay. But do you remember if it was, if they did the Neshima Achas or Shtei Neshimas?
I was still in Shemona. I was still in my silent Shemona Esrei. I was maybe close to where they were. So I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, so that's what someone asked me. He said, I'm running this minyan, and I want to know what should I blow in the silent Shemona Esrei for the Chassidim, you know, Nusach Svard. So I said, I don't know, go ask some Chassid, don't ask me. You know, I said, but you're not the first one to have this question. You know, this is, everybody should know the answer to this question. So he said, okay, but go find out for me. So I started doing research, and I actually found out that it's not so simple what the minig is. Unfortunately, my father, Eni Kaparas Mushkova, is not alive anymore. When I was a little kid, I must have been 5, 6, and 7. So my father davened in a shul that was Nusach Svard. And I remember clearly going to Tkiyas in the quiet Shemona Esrei, but I have no idea if it was Shtei Neshimas or Neshima Achas. At that time, I was not aware of this whole subject. You know, that wasn't. But anyways, that's what we're going to. I'm going to start out with that halacha over here, and we're going to maybe work our way from there backwards. We're starting, if we're successful, we're up to Siman Tov Kuf Tzadik. I'm going to do Sif Dalid, and if we're successful finishing there, we're going to go work our way back. We'll do Aleph, Beis, and then Gimel. That's the plan. All right. Shalosh shevarim tzarich la'asoisam b'neshima achas. The 3 shvarims have to be said in one breath. I don't know, the word is said is the wrong word. They have to be blown in one breath. Avashloisha shvarim u'teruah d'tashrat. But when you're blowing the shevarim-teruah, so there's a discrepancy. Why does it have to be done in one breath? What's the concept of it being done in one breath? Because it's one sound. One sound is one breath. If you can take a breath in between, it becomes 2 sounds. So a shvarim, if somebody, a riddle question, how many sounds are there in a shvarim? 1 or 3?
3.
3. But those 3 are one sound.
Correct. So it's supposed to be done the same amount of time as you do the tkiyah, you do the shvarim.
Yes. You're answering you're answering wonderfully, but not the question that I asked.
Okay.
I asked you a different question. A totally different question. What did we just say? You are not allowed to breathe in between one shvarim and the next. Why?
Because it's one. Because it's really one.
So it's really one. So those 3 are one.
Right. Officially. But it can't be because they're three different sounds. But you could do it in the Shema Achas. I mean, easily. But
what is the concept of Neshima Achas?
probably it means it's one kol. That means even with all those sounds, it's still one kol. It's classified as one kol.
You know, you have a yeshivish disease. You put in a Hebrew word, then you assume that we understand what you're talking about. What does that word kol mean?
Okay.
Sheffer, you want to take a stab at it?
It's a single unit, just like Asaris B'nai Haman, a single unit, even though it's three sounds. It's a single word with multiple syllables.
Excellent. Very good. Okay. So that's why, I think you said that excellent. So that's why you can't take a breath in the middle. If you take a breath in the middle, so then you broke it up. So if somebody asked the real question, how many sounds are there in the shevarim?
One.
Okay. I don't think that's what you'd have answered 5 minutes ago, right?
Right.
But no, that's one sound is comprised of three different components.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's the answer to the question. So therefore, if you breathe in between one shvarim and the next, it's not a problem of time. You just made another unit, and it's supposed to be only one unit, and you made it into 2 units or 3 units, and then that kol is puzzle. That is why it's forbidden to breathe. Could you breathe in between the tekiah and the shvarim?
Basically, you should be able to, but
Why should you be able to? Because it's 2 different sounds.
exactly. Okay, right. Okay.
So it's 100% mutter l'chatchila to breathe in between the tekiah and the shevarim, or the teruah, whatever it is, doesn't make a difference. What about between the shevarim and the teruah of the shevarim-teruah? Now here, this is like a trick question because shevarim-teruah is obviously 2 different sounds, and it's obviously 1 unit. Right? You understand? This is the question, the vexing question, if you want to call it.
Right.
Okay. So this is the subject which we are right now learning. Okay. Again, now we'll read the halacha inside, and it'll make sense. Now we'll know what we're talking about. The 3 shvarims have to be done in 1 breath. The shvarim and the teruah of tashrat. There's a question. You don't have to do them in 1 breath because they're 2 different sounds. However, there's a stipulation. You have to have you can't have a long break in between because even though it's 2 sounds, now these words make perfect sense. Even though it's 2 sounds, it's still 1 unit. Yeah. So if you're going to make a long separation between it, you're going to make it into 2 units. So you can have 2 neshimas, but you can't have a long time in between. The Yeshamrim shetzarich la'asaysom b'neshima achas, and those that say that you have to make it b'neshima achas in 1 breath. Okay, so now what do we do? The Yirei Shamayim Yotze Yedei Kulam. And the Yirei Shamayim, he's Yotze everybody. How do you Yotze everybody? You daven Musaf multiple times. How you Yotze everybody? The Tkiyah is the Miyusha of Yas and Shema Achas. In the sit down, which means the first Tkiyas, which we learned already. Why they call Miyusha of anybody? Remember, we learned this about a month ago. Why they call Tkiyas the Miyusha? Before the Amida. That's true.
People were sitting down?
But that's not the because one is allowed to hear them sitting down. Because those are not the tkiyas that you're being yaitzu with. The tkiyas that you're being yaitzu with, first is supposed to hear tkiyas standing, because don't you know pasuk that it has to be done standing. But the ones in the Yusha that they're just done kedei la'arbiv es hasatan. So those can be done sitting down. Whether we sit down or not, that's a different question. But they can be done sitting down because we're not being yaitza with them. And we're going to discuss that a little bit later. But anyways.
But does anyone say you have to do it in 2 breaths?
We're not finished yet.
Oh,
okay.
right.
Okay. Yirei Shemayim, Yaitz Yedei Kulam, Ubetkias de Miyusha of Yasir and Shima Achas, Ubetkias de Mu'umad, and again, Aryeh, here you are. We have a sword guy. Aryeh, what they do when you daven Nusach sword? What they do in the quiet Shona Esrei? Did the Shima Achas or Shtei Neshimas? Do you remember?
I think in Chazor so Shatz we did 2 Neshimas. I don't recall.
And the quiet Shona Esrei?
No, 1 Neshima.
1 Neshima. Okay, fine.
Pretty sure it was 1 Neshima.
Okay. All right. With Kiyas de Umad, Yasa Shtei Neshimas. That's what the Mechaber says. Says the Rambam, V'aminik Poshut. La'asos hakol Shtei Neshimas, and then zap. Ve'ei Lashanos. To both of them, Shtei Neshimas, and don't change. That's what you should do. That's what the Ramah says. That is not our custom, but that's what the Ramah says to do. Everything Shtei Neshimas. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Neshima Achas. What's the subject of Neshima Achas and Shtei Neshimas? So you guys already know because we explained it. Is there Anu Oisim B'Shil Truma Kosev Torah? We're doing this because of the Truma says in the Torah. Ve'en Hafsika L'Shtayim. You can't break the unit into 2 different things. Because of Rav Avrohom, Zeu Liikuva Afilu B'Diavad. If you blow the shvarims in 2 different breaths, you're not yaitz. When somebody cries, so it's just like you hear a baby crying, they start off, and then they go, eh. That's basically what happens. So there's a change up between the 2 different kinds of sounds that the kid makes. So therefore, they don't lo out even a shivachas. They don't do them in 1 breath. So the 1 breath in this situation doesn't create a new unit because this unit, being that it's comprised of 2 different sounds, there always should be some kind of a hefsek in between them. Even this day that says to do Shtei Neshimas, they say that if you did Neshima Achas, you're Yaitza. The proper way to do it is to do it B'Shtei Neshimas. And there are those that say and they say what's the reason why? The Torah meant to do both together. It's 1 unit, so it has to be done in 1 breath. If you do it in 2 breaths, also came according to this opinion that's supposed to be the Shima Achas. You did in Shtei Neshimas, you're not Yaitz. What did the Mishnah Berurah say a minute ago? According to the Man Diyama, that's supposed to be Shtei Neshimas. If you did it in Neshima Achas, you are or aren't Yaitza? So remember, you are Yaitza. So which is the guaranteed Yaitza? Neshima Achas. Because even the Man Diyama says Shtei Neshimas, he holds that Neshima Achas, you're Yaitza. B'diavad.
Breath. It's a Neshima's a breath.
Mikol Mokom lo yitka shevarim-teruah b'koyach echad b'bilti shum hefsek. You should not make a shevarim-teruah without any hefsek in between. You chay gavna lo mikim neshima achas ela yafsek ma'at rak shaloi kedei neshima b'tayim. Now, there's a famous shita of the Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish did what's called Meriah Miterch Shever. he did not do like this with shevarim. He went straight from shevarims into a teruah. Now, I spoke to a few people who spoke to people that were there by the Chazon Ish. I wasn't by the Chazon Ish. Okay? I don't claim to have been there. And they say, even the Chazon Ish that said you're supposed to do Maria Toch Shever, there was Eza Shehu Hafsik Mereim. In other words, when we blow Neshima Achas in our shul, it almost sounds the same as Shtei Neshimas. If you're not really paying attention, you can't tell the difference. Neshima Achas, I do Shtei Neshimas and I do Neshima Achas. So you share first. I'm not there. I can just go straights right now. I'm not going to get involved in two. That's the way it's done. That was Shtei Neshimas. And Neshima Achas is two. You hear a difference?
No.
Very, very slight, right? Because I take a break in between. Why? Because the Mishnah Brura said that you shouldn't go to. You shouldn't do that. So you have to take a break. But the Shema Achas is a smaller break than the Shtei Neshimas, which means take a breath. The breath that is taken does not have to be a full breath. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to inhale greatly. You just have to take a little sniff. That's good enough. As long as there's a new breath, you took some new fresh air into your lungs, then that's enough that you have Shtei Neshimas. So the average person in shul would never know the difference if you're blowing Neshima Achas or Shtei Neshimas, because it sounds almost the same. Those who listen when we blow the shul, so there are codes that are used. The tekiah that's blown before the teruah or the shevarim-teruah is announced tekiah going up. The one that's done afterwards is tekiah going down. So it's not because the guy who's calling his horse. These are signals for the Baal Tekiah to know exactly where he's holding. And shevarim-teruah, sometimes it said shevarim-teruah, and someone said shevarim-teruah. Which one is Shtei Neshimas? That's right, the second. It's mefurish once you know, right? But if you wouldn't know, if you wouldn't know that I just told you now, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't detect it even that it's different. It's not meant really for the people in shul to detect it. It's for the Baal Tekiah, but it's important also for the people in shul to know what you're up to, because you have to have in mind for the right one. All right. Anyways, so we do not go shever mitoch Maria mitoch shever. Do not do the other way around. Why should you not do the other way around? What's the difference? We do one the other way. Let's see the Shaarei Tzion. It's a fascinating Shaarei Tzion. The Hainu b'Mekom shenagu k'Rabbeinu Tam l'tkol orach tashrat b'malchios b'chein zechronis b'chein shofros d'bezeh yotze b'malashach. Im kavanas haTorah shvarim l'chol or teruah l'chol v'hefsek le'chashina. Rabbeinu Tam held that you're allowed to blow the teruah sound in between the shevarim and the tekiah. We hold not like that. We hold when you blow something which is a different kind of a sound, then you messed it up and you have to blow all over. Agav, just since I told you some of the secrets of things that happen in shul, there's sometimes I will tell the Baal Tekiah, hopefully it will not happen this year, I'll tell the Baal Tekiah to do over what he was blowing. Sometimes I tell him, just do over what you did right now. And sometimes I tell him, do over the whole set. And that depends on what he did wrong, whether it broke up the set by having some wrong kind of a sound inside. Okay, I'm not going to get involved in all the details of that, but that's, says the Shaarei Tzion. He held that there's no problem. Imkeni avid shevarim-teruah b'neshima achas dilma tashrati emes v'shvarim lav klumu v'havi maskal shevarim v'ois neshima shal teruah Lo chashiva trua klal b'chai gavna. You're not going to be yaitza. Okay. However, that's not our shita. That's not how we hold halacha l'maisa. That they do each one like we do. You could do the other way around. Do by the meyushov shtei neshimois, and by the me'umad neshima achas. Which ones are you yaitza with? Which is the ikar one? I said the answer to this question today. Yehuda, what did I say?
What?
No, that's a different question. Which kiyas are the ones that you're being yaitza with? Ma'umad. The ma'umad. I said, why are the kiyas miyushim called miyushim? Because you can hear them sitting down. Why can you hear them sitting down? Because they're not thinking. Remember I said that right here today? Okay. So anyways, that's important to get that straight. All right. So we're doing both, and I would say the concept over here is we want to be yaitza all the different shitas. One can be yaitza with either of them. That's the bottom line. If you heard just one, notice somebody came to me and said, I can only be by one of the tkiyas. Which one should I be by? The mu'min or the miyusha? The truth of the matter is, I don't know the answer to that question. And I'll explain you why I don't know the answer to that question. Those who say shtei neshimos hold that you're yaitz of the neshima achas. If you hold neshima achas, you're not yaitz of shtei neshimos. That's a given before we start. Now, if that's the case, what should we be blowing?
One.
One all the time?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's, you are, Shofar, you just went against your general principle in life. And I would like to explain this to you, why I'm saying that. You shouldn't take it personal. We should be purists. If a person wants to cover his bases, so then you should do what you just said. You do one because then it's according to everybody. But let's say we hold that the Iker de Dina is 2. So we should do everything b'diavad, or maybe we should do something l'chatchila. You with me? We're not on talking terms anymore?
I don't understand. Why would you ever do 2? Why would you ever do 2?
Because there are those opinions who say that since a shevarim and a teruah are 2 different sounds, there's supposed to be a breath in between.
They would not agree that one is good?
B'diavad.
Okay, I didn't understand.
But
Fine.
they think that's the wrong way to do it l'chatchila.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what that okay means. It means that you follow, you're with me now?
Yes, I'm with you now.
Okay, so this is the question. It seems that the Mishabura and the minig of the Machaber is to cover all bases. We do one, a catch-all, a Neshima Achas, and we do one, a Lechatchila. That's why it seems to me to be that we blow the Shtei Neshimas. Now, the Ramah, I just want to read off the Ramah. What does the Ramah say? Minig Pashet, Lasos Hakol Shtei Neshimois Ve'en L'Shanois. Why is that? He seems to be, he was a purist. We want to be yaitz l'chatchila. We don't want to be yaitz cover our bases. So there we do everything neshima acha, shtei neshimas. Did you people? Did I lose you people here? Or are you here? Okay. Well, I know you people are not here. You people are here. But at any rate, yeah.
It's supposed to do 30 blasts. Could I just one Neshima?
30 to 2 nishimot, and another 30 something else, right? Is that correct?
Or the other 30 you can do whatever you want. There's a different minhagim how to do that, but that's not such a big discussion.
And the one, the shiva, the sitting, that's extra to the 19?
No.
That's part of the 19?
Part of the 90.
So, which part of the 90 are they? The ones, which is the one blast ones, or?
The way we do it, we do them one blast. We do them one blast. In this shul, what happens is, I did my own thing. Afterwards, I found out that the other people who do the same thing, I blow usually the last 30, what I call straights, 2, 2, 2. And the other ones go utu, utu, utu. Why do I do that? Because I'm willing to say that 85% of the people daven in our shul, that is the minhag that they had before they came. That's most people in Chutz La'aretz, that's what they blow. And not only that, according to many, even the poskim who say you should blow 2, 2, 2, 2, say that you're yaitza if you blow straights. So therefore, I elected on the elected koilas to do the minhag always of most people. Being that even according to those who say to blow the other kind, you're yaitza with it. So I did, which is b'diavad, and for most people's minhag avos, the lechatchila. Okay, what's that? Do people follow that math? Yeah. What's your question?
The question is, how many last one nishima are we doing sitting down, and how many standing up?
Sitting down, we do one set.
10, 9?
9.
9. So the other 21 are done standing up.
No,
Right?
no. The question of neshimach and shtei neshimas are only by the shevarim-teruah.
Oh, so you're doing an.
That's only the whole discussion is only on the shevarim-teruah, and you do one set of shevarim-teruah standing, one sitting.
So you're doing, as well as doing the 9, one nishima sitting down, you're going to do another 30 standing up.
Not
One
30.
nishima, right?
No, our math over here is not good.
I don't understand.
There's the chazan blows 3 tekiah shevarim-teruah tekiyas. Then he goes 3 tekiah shevarim tekiyas. Then he goes 3 tekiah teruah tekiyas. That is sachakol how many? 30. That's 30 down. So how many shevarim-teruahs does he blow? 3 or 9, whichever you want to call it, right? He does the same thing in the machzor. You look in the machzor, after Malchias, after Zechonis, and after Shofar, he blows tekiah shevarim-teruah tekiah shevarim tekiah teruah tekiah after each one. So how many is that cumulatively? Exactly the same amount. It's not. Why is that? No, those we blow shtei nishim.
So the one which we did one nishima, that's what being done sitting down.
Correct.
Why? That's a more important one for us. And you said that you.
Why is that more important?
Because I understood that you tried there.
So yeah, that was a question which I raised. Because you're yaitza that way, does that mean that that's the one you should do when you're doing the ikar tekiyas?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your opinion.
So why are you doing sitting down? That's one nishima.
Because
Do the last ones, the straight ones, sitting down. That's the idea, right? Because one nishima.
So I think the answer to the question is that we do it, that we want to be yaitza. The ones that we do al seder of the tefillos, we want it to be the way that's lechatchila, not b'diavad according to everyone. Okay, this is we're not Democrats trying to please everybody. That's the point over here, which I think that's has to be expressed. Okay.
Rabbi, can I ask?
Yeah.
Is it not important to hear the bracha? Is that not the Does that not trump whether it's a break, one kolot or two kolot, together bracha at the beginning of the shofar blowing? Does that not make it a preference?
I didn't understand. You want to know how does the bracha work for the second?
Which set of kolot is more important? The miyushav. If one person can only attend one set, which set should you choose?
In my opinion, I think they should.
A big influence it more.
In my opinion, if somebody can only go to one set, he should go to the ones of Chazar Sashatz.
And miss the bracha.
No. What happens is that when the Chazan is winding down and he says it's at the end of Malchias, then he says the bracha himself. You don't have to hear the bracha from the Chazan. You can say the bracha yourself.
Okay.
Okay. That's very important because many ladies, and I say this over when I speak to ladies, I forgot to say this over this year. Invariably, it happens to men too, but not as much as ladies. There are ladies who come late to Tkiyas and they want to say the brachas and they're saying the brachas while the guy's already blowing. That's like a horrible mess-up. Just skip the brachas and hear the Tkiyas. Unless you're planning to be there for the Tkiyas later on also. So the bracha is actually very important. Okay? Is that where, Dr. Cohen, we're okay? Okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah, we do shtei neshimos, achizor shelo yafsik yosem ichdei neshima. If we're doing shtei neshimos, you shouldn't stop too long. Al kein tov sheyakul lefon of hamakra, shevarim-teruah b'pamachas. Don't say shevarim, have him blow a shevarim, and then say teruah and have him blow a teruah. If you're going to wait for him to say teruah, and then you're going to blow the teruah, so the amount of time that will elapse, this is, I call this an amazing Mishnah Berurah. Someone wants to know how long a neshima is. So I have a raya from the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says to say teruah, and then for the person to blow, that amount of time could be that we'll get to the shear of a neshima, which is a very long time. All right. So this is the backdrop to the question of the minig, how are you supposed to blow? And then the question becomes, as what I was asked this week, is in the quiet Shemona Esrei, is that called Al Seder Brachas or not, etc. And that is actually a machlokes, a poskim, amongst the Chassidish poskim, how it should be done. And it's not again Avat Shalom. Just leave it as that. Okay. Now let's go back to Sif Aleph. You want to ask something? Yes? Fine. All right, let's go back to Sif Aleph. Kama Tkiyas Chayvadam Lishmoa B'Rosh Hashanah Teisha. Now, those words are actually misleading. How many tekiyas? He really means to say how many sounds. He doesn't mean the word tekiyas as in technically, the word tekiyas. The Fisha Nemar, it says teruah by Yovel, U'Rosh Hashanah. It says the word teruah 3 times. The whole teruah, and the rule is whenever you have a teruah, you need a pshuta lefanao, pshuta lacharel. You have to have before it a cold pasha, which is called a tekiyah. And afterwards is a tekiyah again. So you have 3 teruahs and a tekiyah to sandwich them 3 times. That comes out to 9. So how many tekiyahs do you have to hear? 3 with a livoy of, right? So it's not tekiyahs. You don't have to hear 9 tekiyahs. You have to hear, right? You have to hear 6 tekiyahs and 3 teruahs. Right? That's 9. That's what it means. Okay. When Piashmul should call teruah shachol shvi echohem. All the teruahs that are blown in Chodesh Shvi, they're the same. Ben Rosh Hashanah, Ben Yom Kippur Shal Yovel, and Teisha Tkiyas Toikin b'chol echad mehem mishneim tarat tarat tarat. You have to blow Tkiya, Truah, Tkiya. The problem is that we don't know what a Truah is. That's what we're going to see soon. Says the Mishnah. Says, okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah. It says, "We have a Kippurim b'avarti shofar Truah, Rosh Hashanah ksiv Shabbosim zichron Truah, Yom Truah yelachem." Pshuto lefaneha. It says, "B'avarti shofar Truah, Yemash ma'avoras kol echad lefnei haTruah." You have to blow something before the Truah, and that's talking about the Tekiah. Pshuto achareha. That says Taviru, which means afterwards you have to have a sound of a shofar. Pshuto lachafai. Shachodesh Hashvi, the Gamrin and Shvi Shir Shava, and Nemar Rosh Hashanah B'Chodesh Hashvi, and Nemar Yom Vat B'Chodesh Hashvi, and all of them have to be the same. Says the next halacha in Shulchan Aruch. This is the history. Truah zu amur b'Torah v'stapik lanu imhi hayalala shana karin Truah. Is it that wailing sound that we call the Truah, or imasha anu karin shvarim, or that which we call the shvarim? Maybe it's both together. In order that we should not have a question of being yaitz or not, tashrat, which means tkiya shvarim truah tkiya 3 times, tashat tkiya shvarim tkiya 3 times, v'tarat tkiya truah tkiya 3 times. So that's how we come to have so many kaidas, because we're not really sure which is the right way to blow the shofar. Okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah, "Stop the klanu. L'damin Truah Yevava al Mashul Kol Sha'adam Mashmiach Shubachol Miyalo." Since it says the word means to cry, it's the sound the person makes when he cries. A person that is oppressed in his heart. Okay. Anyone want to translate that for me to English? What's a krechtzer? Yes, what is a krechtzer? Can't hear you. You're not plugged in.
Aye.
Oh, there is no word for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
A sign.
correct,
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
correct.
Maybe that's good.
He moans. I don't know. He moans, maybe.
Okay.
That'd be the only
Well,
word I
we
can.
all know what it is.
You can't translate it.
Okay.
They say that about Chad too. Correct.
Yeah, okay. A person starts off crying like that. But the guy who's already crying and he has short little sounds like Hamavu, Mashal Karim Truah, or maybe it's both together. You can't be yaitza both with the tashrat. Why can't you yaitza both with the tashrat? We already said the answer to the question. Because let's say that we're supposed to be blowing a shevarim. When you said a tkiya, then you blew a shevarim. Now this truah which you blew in the middle, that's the wrong sound. The shevarim has to have a tkiya afterwards. When you put in a truah after the shevarim, so now your shevarim doesn't have a tkiya afterwards, and therefore the shevarim becomes no good. Yeah, is that understood, what I just said? You have to have that the sound is couched between 2 tkiyas. If you have a tkiya, shvarim, truah, tkiya, so if it's either a shvarim or a truah, the other call negates the validity. So that's why you have to blow each one separately also. Okay, I'm going to stop over here.
Toch Kadei Dibur couldn't work, couldn't undo it.
No, because the problem is the different sound cancels it. It's not a hefsek in time. It's not in between a tkiya with a shvarim tkiya. It's a tkiya with shvarim with a truah. I don't have a tkiya after my shvarim. I have 10 months later.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, go to.
Ah,
Welcome. Sima Tova to all of you.
Good gebench,
Shana Tova,
York.
Fatima Tova.
Bench yours. Shana Tova.
Okay, you too. Thank you. Go to us.
Thank you.